Most people train for one thing: strength, endurance, aesthetics. I've spent my entire life trying to build all of them. I started my career as a SOD in a special forces group before I went to selection and became a Tier 1 operator for almost 8 years, and then I left to become a helicopter pilot. For most of my life, I've tried to be what I like to call a full spectrum athlete. Over the years, I've trained in almost every discipline that you can imagine. And one thing I've learned is this: you don't know what you don't know. And this is why I'm always experimenting with new training methods and the latest fitness science. For most of my life, I've tried to be a full spectrum athlete. Not just strong, not just fast, not just able to run long distances, but capable across the board. Strength, speed, endurance, mobility, and yes, even looking pretty doing it. Over the years, I've stepped out my comfort zone again and again, trying almost every physical discipline I could get my hands on. From competitive sports growing up, powerlifting to military performance training, experimenting with things like parkour, backflips, calisthenics. I've always been curious what the human body is capable of. Every one of those experiences taught me something about performance, discipline, and longevity. And in the last year, when I turned 40, I decided to push that even further. I decided I was going to run my first triathlon at the age of 40. And despite my age, I wanted to push my body further and perform better than I ever have before. I started experimenting with new training programs again, combining decades of experience with the latest fitness science. So in this video, I want to share the lessons that I've learned from a lifetime of training and how I've managed to stay competitive across multiple domains of fitness. I've been a hardcore athlete my entire life. I played every sport available to me growing up: baseball, soccer, swimming, water polo, football, basketball, tennis, volleyball, pretty much anything I could get into. In high school, I littered in every sport. And in soccer, I was one of only 2 freshmen to make the varsity soccer team. When I joined the military, that competitive drive didn't stop. I was the only person in my basic training company to max the PT test. In special operations, I competed constantly and won nearly every fitness competition I ever entered, including the Iron Warrior competition in SLC. And when I went through Tier 1 selection, I gave everything I had. When I came back 4 years later as cadre selection, I was able to finally see my times and found that I was the second fastest in all the events, especially the rucks. And even now, I'm still pushing. I competed in my very first triathlon at age of 40, and I ended up winning my division, and majority of people in my division were at least 10 or 15 years younger than I was. I never stopped being an athlete, and I've never stopped chasing improvement. It means staying on top of the latest science, research, and training methods. There are a lot of guys who start working out with the best available information at the time. 10 years later, they're still doing the exact same routines. Training evolves, science evolves, and if you don't evolve with it, you fall behind because you don't know what you don't know. Stay curious, stay humble, keep learning. Now in my 40s, I train not just to look good, to stay capable, dangerous, and disciplined. Over the years, I've trained in a lot of different styles of fitness, and each one has taught me something. I've done bodybuilding, which taught me structure and how to build muscle intentionally. I've done CrossFit, which taught me work capacity and how to push through discomfort. I trained for selection and military performance, which taught me durability and mental toughness. I did German volume training, which showed me the power of volume and consistency. I've done Olympic lifting, which taught me explosiveness and the importance of technique. And I've trained for almost every endurance event out there. And over time, I realized something. No matter what training style I was doing, everything kept coming back to the same core principles. And these are what I consider my foundations of fitness: strength, speed, mobility, endurance, and aesthetics. Strength is your ability to move weight. Speed is explosiveness and athleticism. Endurance is work capacity and recovery. And aesthetics matters too, at least to me, because I believe you should look good no matter what you're doing. There's an old saying that I heard when I got to SF that has always stuck with me. Rule number 1, always know where you are and always look good doing it. Rule number 2, if you don't know where you are, at least look good doing it. Now, I don't treat these pillars as separate categories. In every workout, I try to hit at least 2 to 3 of them, if not more. A heavy leg day might hit strength and aesthetics. A sprint workout might hit speed and endurance. Calisthenics might hit endurance and mobility. These pillars keep my training balanced and sustainable long term. I played every sport imaginable since I was 5 years old, but I didn't start weightlifting until I was 21 years old. And when I did start, I used the classic 1 body part per day split. 5 exercises per muscle group, 4 sets per exercise, each movement targeting a different angle of that particular muscle group. It was split up into chest, back, legs, arms, and honestly, no matter what training style I experimented with over the years, CrossFit, German volume training, Olympic lifting, selection prep, I would always come back to this structure. Is it the most optimized program? Maybe not, but it works. The most important lesson here is simple. Just get in the gym and do something. Don't wait for the perfect program. The best program is the one you'll actually show up for and continue doing. Strength isn't built in comfort. effort. It's built through repetition, through discipline, through showing up when it would be easier not to. For me, training has always been about pushing limits, becoming stronger, faster, and more capable every single day. But the gear you wear matters. Barbell apparel was built for athletes who move, who train, who refuse to compromise between performance and style. Clothes that move with you, built for strength, built for durability, and built for the grind. Whether it's the gym, the track, or the everyday mission, train hard, move freely, live disciplined. Barbell apparel. Use code StoicViking25 and step into gear that's built for you, how you actually train. Once I rebuilt consistency, I transitioned into a push-pull leg split. Push, which is chest, shoulders, and triceps. Back, which is typically back, traps, and biceps. Legs, which is quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. And I would run it in a 3-day on, 1-day off split, which would allow me to get 6 workouts in 8 days and would allow me to hit all my muscle groups twice a week. And to make it simple, this allows me to hit each muscle group twice in a period of 8 days. The push-pull leg program actually works for both beginners and advanced lifters. Beginners can run push, pull, and legs once per week and hit everything needed to make progress. It's simple and effective, and it's not overwhelming or too time consuming for somebody who's just getting into lifting. Advanced lifters can run this split twice a week, which will allow them to push their gains even further. And if you are someone who's a beginner, or you just have a minimal amount of time that you can work out during the week, the minimum dose for progress is working out 3 times a week, around 45 minutes a day. You want to focus on compound lifts, squat, deadlift, bench, pull-ups, rows, and overhead press. And try to get in about 10,000 steps a day. Track your workouts, progressively overload, prioritize sleep, protein, and hydration. Do that consistently, and you will make progress, and you'll already be ahead of most people. The latest fitness and scientific research generally shows that training each muscle group twice a week is the sweet spot for strength and hypertrophy. A well-known 2016 meta-analysis by Brad Schoenfeld found that training a muscle 2 times a week produced significantly more growth than just once per week. And yes, there are cases where you could train an individual muscle group up to 3 times a week, and you can still see additional results from that, but the gains tend to be smaller, and you start running into diminishing returns. Each additional session adds less benefit than the one before it. A higher frequency of training up to 3 times a week is most useful when you're training specifically for one muscle group or to improve a specific lift or movement. For example, if you're just trying to increase your bench press or blow up those glutes, adding a 3rd session can sometimes help. But for most people, especially if you're balancing training with work, family, and everything else in life, twice per week per muscle group is usually the most optimal balance between results and time management. You get the majority of the benefits without spending any unnecessary extra time in the gym. Your training is only as good as your recovery. When you lift weights or do hard conditioning, you're actually creating micro damage in the muscle fibers. The growth and the adaptation doesn't actually happen during the workout itself. They happen afterward while your body repairs and rebuilds those tissues. During recovery, your body repairs damaged muscle fibers, repairs glycogen stores used during training, regulates hormones like testosterone, growth hormones, and cortisol, and strengthens connective tissues and joints. And this is why recovery and sleep are so critical. Research consistently shows that sleep deprivation reduces strength output, slows muscle recovery, and increases injury risk. Even just losing a few hours of sleep can reduce athletic performance and even reaction time. Another important factor is the nervous system recovery. Heavy strength training and intense conditioning will place stress on the central nervous system. If you don't give your body time to recover, performance drops, motivation drops, and you'll eventually start plateauing and even worse, possibly get injured. So recovery isn't just about feeling good. It's a part of the adaptation process. So pay attention to indicators like sleep quality, resting heart rate, mood and irritability, strength progression, or regression. If those start trending in the wrong direction, it's usually a sign your body needs more recovery. And remember, recovery isn't a weakness. Listen to your body, because if you get injured, you'll end up having to take more time off than the additional recovery time that you allocated. Now to the section I probably get the most questions about: nutrition and supplements. First and most important, protein. A good rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per target body weight. And the most important part of protein is the totally daily intake, because the old idea that your body can only take 50 grams of protein at a time is outdated and has been debunked. The next is creatine. Creatine is one of the most researched supplements available today. It increases ATP production, the primary energy source that your muscles use. That means better performance during high intensity training. It also pulls water into the muscle cells, which improves muscle recovery and muscle fullness. And the biggest people run into, myself included, is consistency of taking creatine every single day, because most creatine powders feel like drinking sand. Because if you don't enjoy taking something, you won't stay consistent. And that has always been my problem with creatine. I never really enjoyed drinking it, and I'd always come up with excuses not to take it, and so I was really inconsistent. But about a year ago, I heard about creatine gummies, and I started trying them. And I tested multiple brands, and I quickly found that they were easier to take, and it was easier to stay consistent. But then as I did more research, I kept hearing some brands didn't actually contain the amount of creatine they actually advertised. And after trying a few of these brands, I honestly couldn't feel much of a difference with some of them. And that changed when I tried Tasty Gains. And not only were they the best tasting ones that I had tried so far, and my favorite flavor is probably the sour watermelon. But one of the most important parts, they're also third-party tested at 1 gram of creatine per gummy, which matters because some brands don't actually contain what they claim. And that's why I'm proud to announce my partnership with Tasty Gains. And remember, supplements don't replace training. They support the work you're already doing. And for us older guys, there's a lot of fear around training in your 40s. But you're not fragile, and this is not the end of your fitness career. You just need to train smarter. Lift heavy, sprint, move explosively, warm up properly, and respect recovery. And one of my favorite quotes by Socrates says it perfectly. It's a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable of. But at the end of the day, there's no perfect plan, only consistent execution. No ego lifting, and don't worry about what other weights people are lifting. And don't compare yourself where other people are at in their fitness journey, because comparison is the thief of joy. And form is more important than weight. And don't take shortcuts. You will regret it later. And there are no shortcuts to a strong, healthy body. And track your lifts. Write everything down. Record every exercise, every set, every rep. If you don't know what you did last session, it makes it really difficult to know what you need to do this session to push yourself, because you need a benchmark to beat every single time, because this is the foundation of progressive overload training. Progressive overload simply means gradually increasing the stress you place on your body so it has to adapt. That might mean adding more weight, doing more reps, improving your sprint time, increasing your work capacity, or moving better with the same weight. Without tracking your training, progressive overload just becomes guesswork. When you record everything, you know exactly what target you need to beat next time you walk into the gym, because you need to push a little further each time. Focus on improving your numbers, your movement quality, and your consistency, and not just your lifts. When you track it all, make sure you're pushing yourself to improve in every area. If you don't track it, it's easy to plateau and stagnate. All you need to care is about getting better, 1 set at a time, 1 exercise at a time, 1 workout at a time. Just focus on the step right in front of you, and then the rest won't seem so daunting. Because always remember is to train with purpose, because the work always pays off, but not overnight, but it always pays off. If you enjoyed this fitness content, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And if you want to support the channel even further, consider becoming a member or making a donation. Support like this helps me to do more fitness content like this. And you can find the link for my donations in my link tree in my bio. And thank you for your time and all your support, and stay strong.